They're digging up backstage at Avengers Campus, a surprise development at Tortilla Joe's, and the walls are finally down at the Cozy Cones, revealing a new and improved ordering system. And we're going to talk all about that and Red's Community Garden. But first, it's the end of an era. And I can't believe all of what we're about to show you in this episode is happening just this week. I keep surprising myself with how active the parks have been this January and February. And right here, the Red Car Trolley here on Buena Vista Street, we're looking at the queue. People have been lining up to ride the Red Car Trolley. It surprises me that they'll do this when it's closing, but they wouldn't do it when it was open, when it was running. It's going to be that way for Tom Sawyer Island someday when they close it. There's going to be a lineup of people riding those rafts, and I'm like, hey, you had plenty of chances. But anyway, the Red Car Trolley is closing on, well, today, as I record this, is its last day. And so we kind of captured some final moments here. We're going to be talking about this a little bit more detail in our State of DCA report coming up later this week. But by the time you see this, the Red Car Trolley will have had its last run down Buena Vista Street. As I understand it, though, the trolley itself will still be parked out here as a picture opportunity and just as a piece of theming, of placemaking on Buena Vista Street. So you've got that going for you. But we have more to talk about. We have more to say about, all the surrounding points that are being made or could be made about the Red Car Trolley. So stay tuned to our State of DCA report coming up probably on Wednesday. We're going to stay in DCA for a minute to go get on the Pixar pal around to see if we can find any updates backstage at Avengers Campus behind Avengers headquarters. As usual, as will be the case for the first couple of months, it's going to be difficult to spot things to see, to observe from the Pixar pal around. Most of what's happening is happening out of sight at present. And I had a heck of a time getting any kind of look back there because of the rain. It was causing a lot of disturbance with our ability to shoot backstage. But I'll say this, we got another picture backstage. Friend of the show took this, and it's another pile, like a big fat pile of, that's concrete, that's blacktop back there that's been piled up. So we saw dirt last week. This is in the same spot, same look, same view more or less of where we saw the dirt last week. Today, I don't see dirt, but I see a lot of blacktop that's been tore up. So they're in the process of doing that now. And there's a lot of blacktop to be torn up because that was a parking lot. Where we are, this space, even though it's backstage today, it was previously a proper parking lot, the T-Mode parking lot. People used to park here, guests. This is pre-DCA era. So it's kind of interesting. It's like we're kind of seeing the end of that version of Disneyland, the final remnants, as it were. There's not a lot left of old Disneyland, the old parking lot. But that's all we got to see this week. But we'll be coming back, obviously, every week to see how things are developing there. Another look while we're up here at Little Mermaid, and still no development. They've stopped. Whatever it is that they're doing here, they have stopped doing it at Ariel's Undersea Adventure. What are you guys doing on the other side of those walls? This is just one of the, I love mysteries. I love the curiosities like this. And I know the answer is nothing. The answer is nothing, but it still mystifies me. Like, why would they just stop doing whatever it is they're doing? And I know it's not a big deal. Fascinates me. We'll go to the main entrance of Disneyland to see that the construction walls are still here. They're still updating the second section of gates. Look at the size of that queue. Look at it. That's a lot of guests trying to get in that left side. And it's because there's more guests than usual. It looks more busy than it really is because there's fewer gates to enter. While we're here, there's also this little pop-up construction walls. These are not for updating the turnstiles here. This is a separate refurb project that just popped up last week. I was here the other day and I saw it before they put the walls up. And they had dug up some of the concrete, some of the bricks on the ground. And I couldn't get a picture because there was a whole bunch of cast and I didn't want to be Mr. Nosy Pants. But yeah, they dug up the bricks there. So I'm not sure what it is that's going on there. But I just noted that for your edification, and to also note that while these walls are up, it's a mini tree trick. This is actually the best tree trick ever because where those red bricks are, there's the old tree, right? If you look around, the gates are open. They're still open. Those gates behind those construction walls are still open. You can go around that corner to the left and there's one person waiting at the gate. Here's another view. You can see that the gates are open. So get into the queue on either side that is, right next to those construction walls, and then you'll get half the weight. Like I said, little mini hack. It'll last only as long as those walls are up. Same story across the way for DCA. Construction walls up at the middle, so there's no progress on that development. I expect these should be done pretty soon. Inside the park, Disneyland Railroad, construction walls up there. Makes me very sad. I don't like to see that. I really don't like not hearing or seeing the train. I hate this. I just hate this so much. But yeah, the walls are still up. The train is supposed to come back in March. So we'll hope that remains to be the case, early March. And I still don't know what those walls are for. Those walls have been up for, what, 6 months now? 6 months, probably? Move inside the park to get a quick look at the construction walls there. These are all just for show. The construction walls you're seeing here and at the main entrance are just for show. I mentioned in the past, this just to kind of give you an eyeball to say, you can't come in here, this thing is closed, but they're not actually doing anything behind those walls. Look at this over here, a new development at the Main Street Opera House. They've got some barricades up there. I couldn't tell what they were doing. They've been up for a couple days now, and there was some crew there up to something, although I couldn't really tell what that was. Well, first I couldn't tell, but now I can. It's paint. You can smell it. They're painting. Jolly Holiday next with a very convincing scrim out front. I had somebody tell me that they thought it was open. It's such a convincing scrim. But yeah, same situation here as well. We're not able to tell what's happening, behind that scrim. It's very good at its job of obscuring our view. But we could hear a lot. We could hear a lot of birds back there. They're nesting now in that space. And then I also heard a lot of whooping and hollering back here in the corner again. We're gonna walk all the way back to this corner and pick up the sound. I feel like they have taken something down here. They're stripping something back there on that section of the building. And right there, yeah, see that? That's been stripped right there. I guess we know what they're doing there as well. That's paint. You can smell it. What's more? I was excited to find this week that the arch, the threshold arch was back already. I thought this was going to be a little while, but the Enchanted Tiki Room has got its decorative arch out in front, welcoming guests into the space, which is great. It looks fantastic. I don't have a discerning eye. I'm not sure if this looks more different than it did before. I think it's just, paint and polish. They're making it look fresh and new, giving it a little bit of touch up. We do have a permit for the Tiki Room. I think we mentioned this last week. Replacement of exterior show prop with isolated footing. I think that's actually the arch. And then electrical to replace show lighting, audio systems, and door actuators. And that does sound a lot like the kind of stuff that you would be seeing inside the show. But I can say I have it on reasonably good authority that the dropping flowers, something we mentioned last week, the dropping flowers will return. I do believe that we will see those restored. And again, that's going to be something that maybe not the casual guest is going to care about, but certainly the more rabid fans, the people who are really paying attention and shaking their fists about things that don't work anymore, that's on the list of things to get fixed, along with, the blue lights at Space Mountain, the water at the Big Thunder Q, and, the cannons and Rise of the Resistance and the dropping flowers at the Tiki Room. So that's exciting news, is it not? Right? I mean, I'm pretty stoked about that. We'll go next door to Indiana Jones, where unfortunately it was closed, so we weren't able to check in on that little scene at the exit of Indy with the generator and the boxes and all that. But I can report that there's also a permit available for us to review for Indy. I think we talked about this in the past as well, but we're going to get into it again. They're going to replace animation hydraulic power unit anchored onto existing pad. I don't know what that means. And replace emergency eye wash station. Okay, well, that sounds like what it is. With electrical, mechanical, and plumbing. So there's that. That's actually different now that I look at it. That's different from the permit that we saw before. We also know that Indy has been added to the refurb calendar. Indiana Jones is going to close on March 17th. That's just about 5 weeks from now. We don't have a return date yet, but presumably it's to take care of this permit and the other one that we saw about the moving room, which I had speculated could possibly be the doors, which I got shot down on that pretty quick. Most people, I mean, don't get me wrong, people want it to be the moving doors. They wanted it to be that, but many people said, no, I think it's probably the boulder room, which moves. Obviously, that whole room moves. I don't know if people know this or not. It's something that it's not generally well known, I think, that the boulder doesn't move. The actual room around it moves to make it look like the boulder is moving. It's a really cool effect. But anyway, and that's probably for good reason, because that scene is one of the major culprits of breakdowns at Indy. That's usually the scene, the room where most of the incidents occur. If I were to guess, I would expect Indy to be down for something like a month, maybe 6 weeks. If they're trying to fix that moving room, that may take more than just a few weeks. Take the camera over to Haunted Mansion and peek over the walls here. We're in the queue once more just to see if we can. I don't think we're going to see anything different. The building is definitely gone. This is the break room where it used to be the switch room for the Disneyland Railroad. But where those trees are, there should be a giant building through those, and it is gone. They have torn that building down. Whether or not they fix that building in time for the return of the Disneyland Railroad in a month, I don't know if they want to build that on stage while the ride is open. But then it's not going to be closed again for a little while. So, I mean, maybe they've got another barn that they can just pop up real quick, because, Madame Leota's gift shop did get built rather quickly. Speaking of which, this is hilarious. So these walls have popped up at Madame Leota's, and it's not to fix the building. It's not to do anything with the building itself. The Madame Leota's Somewhere Beyond gift shop is going to remain the same, but there's an issue with drainage. There's an issue with water draining at the end of the night when they hose it down, or if there's rain like there was today. The water's not draining very well. You can't see where it's at, where anything is happening, but I did happen to see there's a little gap that I could see with my eyes, but not with the camera. And I can see through there, and they have dug up the concrete in front of the door, the actual door, right there in the middle of the frame on this shot, right in the middle. That's where they have dug it up, and they're going to have to redo that concrete again. That's where the issue that they're having. In fact, we can go inside. The shop is still open, and we can go inside. Madame Leota says, "Come on in," and you can see right there that they've got walls up on the inside as well. It makes this place even more intimate. Closing those doors makes it even more crowded. It wasn't that busy, but it sure felt it when I was in there. But yeah, so on the other side of those doors right there, on those walls, those construction walls, is dug up dirt. We'll keep our eye on that. Hopefully I think it's going to be a couple months. It's going to be a couple months. I took a quick look around too while I was here to see if there's anything new to look at decor wise, but everything is about the same as we left it. Still charming and cute and everything, but they have not updated anything, especially like that space where they had the AI art, which is, yesterday's news now.
Now, forgive me, but I'd like to take a quick break from this construction update to let you guys know about GetAwayToday. You may already know that they are our preferred vacation planner, travel agent for our fans who are looking to book a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World or more. Universal Studios Hollywood, Universal Orlando, SeaWorld, Legoland, you name it. And I'd like to think that we know them very well. We've met many of them personally, and we know how kind they are and how really tremendously good they are at their jobs. And that's why I'm confident in referring our fans to Getaway, because I am confident that you will be treated just as well as we have. If you're planning a trip to a Disney park or Universal or anything else of that nature, if you're planning a trip soon, use the link in our description so that they know that we sent you and so that we know that you were sent to them through one of our YouTube videos. And in so doing, you can be confident that you're going to be getting some of the best possible service from people who know everything there is to know about planning a trip to the Disney parks. Thank you for that. Let's get back to the show.
We'll go next door to Ray's Berets. This is sort of a peccadillo of mine. I don't know if anybody else cares, but it's just something that I've been observing for the past few weeks. The grass is dead. Some of the grass is alive. That grass right there in the right of your frame, now centered, you can see there's dead grass on either side of Ray's Beret sign, and then there's live grass. So I don't know what's happening here. It's an interesting development. We go on the other side where that little path is, and you can see the live grass there, but it's dead at the top. And then on the left side, it's almost completely dead on the left side of that, chimney or whatever. I mean, I don't know what's going on. And you can see, actually, I don't know if we can get the camera there correctly, but there is right there, right in the center, that's a sprinkler. So they have the ability to water that grass if necessary. It's set up to do that, but they're not. Here's something that I've been curious about. This is one of the greatest mysteries that I've ever come across. Somehow, for some reason, they have kept this path that goes nowhere. This path used to be the entrance into Splash Mountain back in the day. You would walk through that path through a very nicely wooded area, and it was really delightful. Today, it's a dead end. Where I've zoomed in here, that's the end of that path. It goes nowhere. It's dirt after that. The real mystery is Well, that's mystery A. Why is it still here? Why have they kept it in the way that they have? But even more interesting is they have now fortified it. They've added more rail. When you look at how this looked before, when they first reopened, there was no rail there. The blonde wood there is new. That's happened in the last week or so. They've added this blonde, as if to suggest that they needed to fortify this for some reason. And frankly, it has to mean something, right? Like it just looks weird. It looks like it doesn't belong there. It looks like it's done. I just don't understand what they're thinking or what they're doing. But I have to think it means something. I just don't know what. And there's a duck enjoying himself. We'll go to Tiana's Bayou Adventure next, where in our State of Disneyland report last week, I mentioned that for some reason they had put the queue outside of the fence to the right, and guests were being queued up outside there. They were keeping guests from the queue proper. Looks like that has since been remedied, and we're back into using the proper queue as it should be. So whatever issue that they had there before has been resolved. They've handled it, and we're back to normal operations here. Big news coming out of Galaxy's Edge. That is the Millennium Falcon, and according to Disney, you may have seen this on socials, Luke Skywalker will be appearing here in Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland as part of Star Wars Season of the Force. That's their yearly party or whatever to celebrate Star Wars. And this year, we're going to get Luke Skywalker, a character that people have been asking for a lot. People have been waiting for legacy characters at Star Wars or at Galaxy's Edge, and we're going to get him finally. Now, it's not a permanent situation as best as I can tell. It is probably just for Season of the Force, but I also feel like it's a test to find out how popular he'll be. And it's not even necessarily, I mean, he will be popular, but there could be such a thing as too popular if they want to have that guest walking around the park like they do Boba Fett and The Mandalorian or Ahsoka, etc., etc. If he draws too much of a crowd, it might be difficult for a cast to sort of keep guests from overextending themselves a little bit. A lot of the situations that come across, Disneyland are not Disney being jerks, but guests doing things that they shouldn't be doing. Guests seem to have lost their chill a little bit at Disneyland, it seems like. So it could be the case, because I mentioned this because of the possibility that Darth Vader, this could be a test to see what would happen if Darth Vader was just allowed to walk around Galaxy's Edge. What would that show be like? What would that be like? This is we're going to find out a little bit. I can't wait to see. I just want to watch the scene. I don't necessarily want to meet Luke. I want to see what it looks like when other guests meet Luke. That fascinates me. So look for that for Season of the Force. We'll go to Big Thunder to check in on the water. It's still off, where the train comes around the corner. But really now the story's become that trash. That trash is still, it's going on at least a week now, where that cup and that little piece of trash right there on that rock, it's moved. They're moving, but it's definitely the same cup, the same trash that was there a week ago. Now check this out. It gets even worse. This week, not only is the trash still there, but now that sign, the claim jumping sign, is all cattywampus now. It's been tilted over. So I hope they can we just get somebody out there with a pair of galoshes and just fix that sign and take the trash out? Can we please clean up the trash at Disneyland? Is that asking too much, Disney? And I know you're watching. Somebody's, I know you are. Please, for the love of Pete. Let's go to Space Mountain. We'll go to Tomorrowland. We'll go to Space Mountain, where I was shocked to again find during our State of Disneyland report that the situation looked a lot cleaner, a lot more open than I had remembered. And that was because they finally took those walls down. The walls are down. We saw the construction walls go down for where the light fixtures are, but now those other two big sets of walls are gone, revealing, I guess, this new arrangement. I'm not sure if this were there before or if the walls were down just to fix that one light pole that's in the middle there. I can't remember if the awning, the shade structure there, I know the one heading towards Lightning Lane did, but this one right there, I'm not sure if that was there before, if they have extended it out into this section, or if they maybe plan to extend it more. That'd be something. But so this is done. All of this is done now. The new light fixtures are there. Looks great, I guess. I mean, it looks good. I enjoy it. It was fun to see that there, and I like the sort of the spacey quality of everything. Works for me. Let's jump across the Esplanade and get back to DCA and check in on Grizzly River Run. Still down. Matter of fact, they are in a very closed state right now. Nothing is operating, and there's even more to observe. It's interesting. This little body of water is a shade of blue. They've added an element to make it more blue, it looks like, as opposed to green like we saw at Rivers of America. Got some tents set up for some of the extensive work they're doing on the rails there. They're creating some more guardrails, some faux wood guardrails there. Everything is wrapped up right now because of the rain. It's been raining, kind of quasi-raining, for the past few days. So everything's in a sort of a state of pause right now and wrapped to protect it all. But yeah, they're adding more of the faux wood bumpers there. And the cut logs are still present down there further along the track as where guests first launch. And then no visible signs of any sort of progress on the end of the track where guests return to the station, where we're hoping that they're working on the geysers here. But everything looks pretty still. Bad day to look at Grizzly River Run construction with all the rain. I'm happy to report. Here we go. This is the exciting part of the show right now. I'm happy to report that the red seating area there, the one that they had recently built, is open again, which is great. And the reason why it's open again is because they took down those construction walls that we saw last week. We were kind of surprised to find those. And now it has revealed just what we thought. We saw that red and white rooftop there, and here it is. It's Red's Community Garden. Guys, they have, it's so great. It's not just red tables. The reason why those tables and umbrellas are red is because it's Red's Community Garden. And I find this positively delightful. This is like my favorite thing. Is that it serves no purpose, this little awning structure here. It doesn't really serve a purpose other than to welcome guests into the space. It's very well themed, and I dig it, and it looks really nice, and guests can travel through there and become a further part of the Cars Land aesthetic and enjoy their meals that you can get at the Cozy Cones. This table seating, we're going to get into that, was created because, all these tables are put in because of what they were doing at the Cozy Cones. Let's go find out just what it is that they did. The walls are down at the Cozy Cones. You can now freely walk through that space. It's great. It's really, really great. What you have there, this is the opposite side of the lobby, and you've got 2 cashiers, 2 queues for standby. And just as we predicted, it's a single point of sale. Rather than trying to decide which cone you want to go to, if you want to get the macaroni in the cone thing, you go to chili con queso. If you want a churro, you got to go to the churro cone or whatever. You have to pick the cone. Instead of picking your cone, you just go to the kiosks here, the standby ordering units, and place your order at any one of the cones, at any of them. You could place an order for all 5 if you want, and then you go to each cone to pick up whatever your requisite order is. It's 2 stations and 2 cashiers per station. So you can have up to 4. You can have up to 4 queues operating here, which is great. It helps to make the ordering very quick. At this point, it was kind of slow today, so I think they just had the 2 cashiers out there. But they can have up to 4. If it gets busy, they can have up to 4. There is mobile order, obviously, and that's still the preferred method of placing your order at the Cozy Cones, in my opinion. If you scan this one right here at the standby ordering station, do that thing where you scan the QR code at the sign, and it'll take you to the mobile order app, and you can pick your cone. You can go to chili con queso, frozen cone, ice cream cones, whatever, and place your order there. Or if you want, you can go to the individual cone. There's Concoctions. We'll scan that QR code. And if you go to the individual cone to use their QR code, it takes you to that specific cone's mobile order site, and you can place your order there. Cozy Cone 4 Concoctions. But if you don't want to use mobile order, as I mentioned, there are at least 2 queues. There will be probably at least 2 stations there for ordering. It goes by super, super quick. And the best part about this system is, well, one, it keeps things organized. Guests don't get as lost because they're not sure which cone to go to. They're not sure where, if they want a churro, like, do I go to cone 1, 2, 3, 4? They're not sure. So that it helps to, the cast member is there to personally greet you, and tell you which cone to go to when you're done placing your order, which I find is great. But even better is that it now affords that standby guest the opportunity to place an order at multiple cones, which apparently is the thing that they had been dealing with. They were having trouble with that. There are guests who want a churro and a cone filled with macaroni and cheese. So they would have to wait in one standby line, and then when they're done with that one, go wait in another standby line. And, it took it takes longer. Now it's kind of like going to Food and Wine, and you can place all your orders at Food and Wine at one food booth. From what I've been able to observe, I watched this for a little while. What I observed, everything went very, very smoothly, and it's nice. And plus, it's a little bit more personal. The cast members are out there; they're greeting guests, they're helping them. It makes everything a little bit more friendly, in my opinion, as opposed to kind of like just sort of randomly walking up to cones if you don't know your way around, which is the thing. You'd be surprised how few people don't know their way around Disneyland. It's absolutely a thing. So it's improved traffic. It's improved a lot. And now I mentioned earlier about Red's community garden. People were wondering what happened to the seating. Yeah. So where these standby stations are is exactly where those old tables were. The round tables, the picnic tables with the umbrellas. Those are gone, obviously. But that's why they created Red's community garden in order to. It's actually more seating than there was before. There were only like 4 tables. It was a pain to find someplace to sit at the Cozy Cones before. Now there's lots more tables to choose from just around the corner at Red's. As for the lobby itself, people were wondering or thought maybe they had taken over the lobby, the actual Cozy Cones lobby that was, kind of a showpiece. That lobby is still there. What's happening on the other side is just as it was before. Nothing has been changed there. I thought maybe they did something with the windows, but the windows reveal that everything is the same as there. It's the same hotel lobby as we saw before, which means we should get the return of the Breaks Motel, etc. But just now you just can't see through it on the opposite side. That was one place where you could see everything was on the opposite side, on the cone side of things. You can't see through there, obviously, because now it is standby kiosk. But otherwise, the hotel lobby, the Cozy Cones Motel lobby is exactly like it was before. Very exciting. This I'm really pleased with this. I'm really happy with how this worked out. It took forever, but it's here, it's done, it's good. And I think that guests are going to find this to be a more convenient and a more pleasant way to place an order at the Cozy Cones. Initially, it was my belief that they were going to demo Tortilla Joe's in order to build the new restaurants that are coming. And then as I looked at the concept art, I thought, well, maybe they're not, because the concept art sort of aligns very well with the front side of Tortilla Joe's. And I thought maybe they were going to repurpose it. Plus, Disney had said that they were going to build these new restaurants in the footprint of Tortilla Joe's, which made me think that they might be using the building again. But we now have a new permit. Tortilla Joe's building a demolition. That's a very obvious and descriptive word. Demolition of the 10,450 square foot ground level and 8,460 square foot second level restaurant to be demolished and utilities to be capped. That's definitive. They're tearing this building down. That makes me really excited. The demo of that building is probably going to be more exciting for me than the building of the actual building. Just like the demo of the old AMC theaters. Hi, guys. And the old AMC theaters and the old Earl of Sandwich. Great scene that was. They're tearing it down, and they're going to build those new restaurants from scratch. That was both expected previously, then unexpected. I'm good with that. As promised, I went to Parkside Market to see if I can get a view of what's happening at the monorail station. And yeah, it's a little bit better. We still can't see down to the ground, but we get a little bit better view of what's happening with that steel poking up. They're not very far along. I'll say that. This is supposed to open in a month. The monorail, by the way, I've learned that the monorail is closing specifically and just for this situation. But they've got a month to finish whatever it is that they started here, because it's going to be opening in March. I also took a look from the vista to see if I could see anything happening at Earl's. Same vertical steel. Those trees are really getting in the way. I'm not going to see much from here, so we're going to need people going to the Disneyland Hotel. Street team, Fresh Baked Street Team. I need photos and video from the Disneyland Hotel. And then finally at the ESPN Zone, as predicted once more, they did remove those murals, the Disney Plus and Disney Film murals like Luca, etc. Those are gone. The red brick veneers are still there, but the murals are gone. And they have actually revealed, it's really interesting. I didn't quite catch this at first. I'm like, God, what is that splotch on that building there? And then I realized, oh my God, that's right. They had the sports figures up on the wall. They had the baseball players on this wall. I think, is that a golfer? I think that might be a golfer. And then if we pan to the left, there's the baseball player. Yeah, the little lefty going on there. Do you guys remember that from back in the old days of ESPN Zone? And you can see them here as well through the scrim. On this right side, there was some football players up there. So that's revealed those impressions still exist. They had put them on top of that, which is fascinating. Once more, there's the big, giant cavernous hole dug into the side of ESPN Zone. I couldn't see there with the camera, but our friends at Theme Park IQ went in the evening, and you can get a much better look at night. And you can see, look at that. I guess, I don't know. I think that is how it was. They haven't really carved anything out. They haven't demoed it. They just took the wall out, and that's how it looked on the other side of the wall. And you can see the old Imagination Campus banner there. After it was ESPN Zone, they were using this for Imagination Campus. And obviously that's going to be no more, but hopefully we'll get another opportunity to come here at night to see if we can't peek through that scrim. But that's what the inside of it looks like. Lots of lights going on in there. But otherwise, not much to see on the exteriors, and we're still waiting for them to reveal just what it is that they're going to be installing here. Our assumption is new retail. With that, let's take a look at wrap up with all of the closures that are going on right now in the park, starting with Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, still closed. It's been now almost a year, and we still don't have a date. We're hoping it's in May with the opening of the 70th, but we're hearing maybe it might be July. Tinkerbell, the meet and greet at Pixie Hollow, that's been closed since September, but now it looks like it's difficult to tell. They've got multiple dates indicating here, but it's also unknown. Could be in March 21st. We'll stay tuned. I'm hoping that's the case. The monorail scheduled to reopen on March 7th. Jolly Holiday has a date. This is good. Jolly Holiday has a reopening date of March 22nd. Disneyland Railroad also reopening on March 7th, same time as the monorail. It's a Small World. It's going to be closed for a while. We've talked about in the previous episodes. That's going to be closed until about March. Indiana Jones closing on March 17th will be reopening. Well, we don't know when it's going to reopen, but my guess is probably 4 to 6 weeks is my guess. That's usually how long those indie refurbs last. Grizzly River Run has been closed since January. It's scheduled to reopen on March 14th, and it looks like we've got a closure for Mission Breakout. This is news. Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout will be closing on March 10th, but only for 10 days, so it's not a major situation. We'll be reopening on March 21st. And that, Fresh Baked, is our construction update for this week. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you have a minute, check out, we have a new channel. We have a second channel for those of you who don't want to, or who want to see just more of the park, the natural wonder that is Disneyland. Check out Tours Departing Daily. We're putting up videos there as well. Give those guys a watch, and then we'll see you next time. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And Fresh Baked.